Do this. Music. So today I want to share a short story about my sister's family. They live in a small 3-room apartment in a residential complex. I won't name the place, but picture a compact urban apartment building, 3 rooms and a tiny living area. One of those rooms they turn into a proper living room. All the usual apartment stuff, clothes drying, cooking, TV, everything cramped into those 3 rooms. One night my sister was sitting in that living room changing her clothes. She locked the door behind her like she always did, started getting dressed, and then suddenly got the feeling that someone was watching her. You know that hair on the back of your neck kind of feeling. She rolled over to look toward the other side of the room, and there, peeking from behind the TV cabinet right next to the door, was a man. He was hunched behind the player, just peeking out to look at her. She describes him as a dark figure, with a kind of shine to his face and teeth, and he was smiling, grinning straight at her. She froze. Her skin crawled. She was terrified. She turned away, hoping she'd imagined it. A few seconds later she looked back, and he was still there, standing, smiling. His face seemed to glow in the dimness. She was shaking, but, for some reason, decided to speak to him. She called out politely, but firmly, that they were a family, that there was a small child at home, that they had every right to live there and do normal things, cook, change clothes, go about their day. She said if he was living there too, that was fine, but please don't disturb them. She asked him not to interfere with their family life. She spoke to him like he would a nosy neighbor, calm but assertive, and after she finished talking, she looked back. He was gone. A bit later they went over and spoke to the family in the flat below, because the apartments are stacked like typical small unit blocks, and the downstairs family were the ones who used to come and go. They had a conversation, mostly women talking, and the downstairs family said, basically, don't change clothes in that particular room, try to use the other rooms. They told my sister that maybe that's why this was happening, and changing in that room might be what drew the attention. That explanation passed between them, and everyone kind of shrugged and lived with it, but the uneasy feeling never fully left. A week later my brother-in-law had to leave town for work for about a week. The rest of the family went away for a while, but their little boy, my nephew, stayed behind. Before he left, I told him, stay alert, study well, sleep properly, don't leave the lights off at night. I told him to be careful at night, to keep the house lit. One night the boy was up late studying. He felt weird, a sense of presence around the house. To shake it off he turned on all the lights, turned on the TV in the other room, tried to keep himself awake by reading for an hour or two longer, figuring he'd go rest later or go visit a neighbor in the morning. At some point he got up to make tea in the kitchen. When he walked into the kitchen he saw the multiple figures standing there. He was absolutely terrified. He didn't wait, he ran out of the apartment barefoot. It must have been around 3 or 4 in the morning. The whole house was left with lights and TV on. He ran straight to our uncle's place in panic. Everyone there got scared when they heard what he'd seen. He went to our uncle's and then to other relatives' apartments because he couldn't go back home that night. In the morning, when my elder brother came back to check, the TV was still on, the lights were on, as if someone had been there the whole time. They turned everything off, but my nephew couldn't shake it. For 3 or 4 days he wouldn't sleep at home, he'd crash at my place or at our brother's place. After a few days, once everyone calmed down, they started sleeping at home again. That's exactly how it happened, and this actually happened to my sister's family. Do this. Music. I also want to share another story about a cousin of mine who works in a government office downtown near the building where they handle passports, where there are these very old trees on the grounds that look like they've been there since the colonial era. The office is a government office, I won't say which one, but it's in that neighborhood near the passport office and some old government buildings. Office hours there are early, they open around 7:00 and close in the mid-afternoon. My cousin always used to get to work a little early, 15 to 20 minutes before opening. He'd go in, turn on the lights and fans, get things ready before the rest of the staff arrived. One morning he walked in and found the lights already on and the place looking like normal business was being conducted. The chairs moved, files out, on desks even though there was no one there. It felt strange, like someone had been in and left just moments before. He shrugged it off and called out to the office attendant, "Hey, you were here early?" The attendant said no, he'd arrived at the usual time. A few days later a man came into the office with his daughter. The girl was about 14 or 15. She kept staring out toward the gate, looking in the direction where my cousin usually stands. The way she was staring made my cousin uncomfortable, almost angry. He thought, hey, don't keep staring like that. But then, because it bothered him so much, he looked up and the girl suddenly spoke to him. She said, "Uncle, do you work here?" He said, "Yeah, I work here. Why?" She told him, and plainly there are many jinn in this office and in this whole building. My cousin laughed at first, but then he looked at the girl's father and the father nodded. The dad said the girl could see things since she was a child. It was a kind of gift. She would often see spirits of jinn around the trees and up on the roof. The father wasn't alarmed. He was used to it. The girl would point things out. They are on the tree, they are on the roof, and she had been telling people about it for years. That admission made my cousin and others uneasy. You can imagine the scene: an ordinary, bureaucratic office with old trees in the courtyard, early morning light, and a teenage girl calmly telling staff that invisible beings hang out on the grounds and the roof. They were taken aback. The staff had their own ways of dealing with it. They locked up the office at 3 in the afternoon and left. The rest of the building, apparently, was known among locals to be full of these presences. Even the workers who had been there for years had stories. So the girl's confirmation was just another piece of evidence to everyone that, yes, something strange was going on in that building. Both of these stories in my sister's apartment and my cousin's office are small, true incidents my family has lived through. They are unnerving, and they stick with you, especially when someone in the family sees or feels something directly. Music.